panic, or patience? Let's start with the Yankees.
Okay.
Okay. The Yankees going into Monday are 13-9.
Yeah.
They are 5-5 in the last 10, plus 21 run differential with a record of 9-7 against teams over 500. Panic or patience?
Patience.
Tell me why, Yankee fan.
Bunch of young guys in the rotation right now. Some injuries are wreaking havoc on the starting rotation for pitching, and in the field. Let's be honest. And so their batting order is not constructed the way they intended it to be constructed. Obviously, we understand that we have to get the next man up. That's just a thing that happens in baseball over a long season. But in April, you didn't expect it to be that way. Nobody thinks that you'll start the season off with plagued by injuries and things like that. So I think that they've held it together well enough, given the hardships of the injury bug. But also their schedule hasn't been. I mean, they've only lost one series this whole season so far, and that was to the Blue Jays this week. So I don't see panic at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think patience. They're a really good team. They've got a good lineup. Like you said, the injuries have been a problem. Most teams don't deal with that many injuries this early in the season. It's been pretty bad for New York.
Well, and they've got some big ones too. Like Carlos Rodon was supposed to be in the starting rotation, and we still don't know when, because he's got back stuff on top of everything. It's a problem. And then we just lost Stanton as well. So
yeah.
And Stanton is not he's not a field guy, he's a DH guy. So
Right. And he's been playing left field though, hasn't he?
He has been.
Yeah.
And in right field. They're platooning everybody around. But you know who is a crazy decent center fielder? Is Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
Oh, really?
Yes.
He's fast.
He's super fast, and somehow he gets reads on the ball and then is able to correct a miscue if he needs to. And that, as a Yankees fan, has been really fun, which means that Aaron Judge gets some time in right field, but he also gets time in center. Harrison Bader is out, so there's our everyday center fielder. And that means we don't have to rely on Aaron Hicks for an everyday outfielder solution, because he's just bad.
Yeah, most Yankee fans, from what I've seen, have been done with Aaron Hicks for a while.
Yeah, we don't like him. No.
Yeah, not so much.
Okay. It's a left-handed bat, but he's not even that good at it. So anyway.
Yeah, maybe you should switch to batting right. Anyway. All right, let's talk about the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, also in the AL East, are they're 13-9 as well. Very, very similar to how the Yankees have been. 5-5 in their last 10, won their last game, but their run differential is -4, and they're 7-5 against teams over 500. Contenders or pretenders?
No, panic or patience.
Sorry, panic or patience. Sorry.
Patience. I'm going with patience. And only because I watched him. You're approaching panic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I hadn't have seen how well they did against the Yankees this last week, I would have felt differently.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a difference, because I didn't watch them this weekend. I'm going to get to see them this week when they play the Mariners. But they've got some pitching issues. Is the big thing with me, is that Berrios is not good anymore at all. Kikuchi is, you don't know who you're going to get each time. And Manoah,
every day it's different.
Manoah has not had a good start.
Not great.
So you cannot have 3 question marks as your starting pitchers out of your 5. Whereas those are supposed to be your top 3, right? Because that's a big time problem. Because then 4 and 5, like, what are you getting from those guys?
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised that the Blue Jays are over 500 right now. They're 13-9, because it seems like they've had some pretty good opportunities to score a lot of runs in a couple games. So
yeah, I agree.
Anyway, all right, Cleveland, the Cleveland baseball team, 11-11, 4-6 in their last 10, run differential of -6, and they are 2-4 against teams over 500. Panic or patience?
I'm going to give them a patience, but basically because their only real problem will be Minnesota in the division. I think if they were in any other situation, we would be panicking pretty quick. But I love the way Tito manages, and I don't think they're going to have as big a problem. And he is the X factor there every time. When Tito's the manager, Terry Francona, for those of you that don't know, his nickname's Tito. Yeah, he's got some golden elixir or something. The dude knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, there's some there. Yeah, exactly. He's got something. I don't know what it is. I would be, and like you said, patience just because of the division. I think that's the only reason. Because unfortunately for Cleveland, this is who they are. They don't hit a lot of home runs. They don't score a lot of runs. They rely heavily on starting pitching. But the thing I've always said, because that was the Mariners for a lot of years, was we're going to have the best pitching in the league, and they did, but they still lost 100 games because they lost a bunch of those games 1-0, 2-1.
Yep.
Baseball is not a sport where your defense translates into runs, translates into scoring. It doesn't happen. You've got to be balanced on both sides of the ball, and I think that if Cleveland has another 500 month in May, at that point you start to panic. You got to bring in a bat. You got to have somebody. And I know they've got Jose Ramirez, they've got Josh Naylor, who's streaky as all get out, right? Steven Kwan. Yeah, you've got guys who can hit the ball, but you might reach a point where you've got to have somebody who is a little bit more consistent, who can actually and will actually hit the long ball, because that's baseball today. You've got to have guys who can hit home runs, and
it's true.
Cleveland does not.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's go down to Chicago. The White Sox. Terrible start for the White Sox. 7-15, 2-8 in their last 10. Lost 4 in a row. Minus 31 run differential. 5-11 against teams over 500. Panic or patience?
Panic.
Absolutely panic. Yeah, they've got to be looking to do something, because that team has had such high expectations this year and the last 3 years. They got to do something to figure out what's going on there.
Yeah, and you got to wonder if this is a first-year management situation and that's what's wrong. But that's a cheap excuse.
It is, because you've got a ton of talent on the team, and I understand another part of it is injuries, because Luis Robert can't stay healthy, Eloy Jimenez can't stay healthy, Joe Kelly can't stay healthy. You've got to figure out something to be able to fill those holes, to get some depth, because you have a winnable division.
Yeah.
So
that's the problem.
Yeah, the White Sox need to be looking to make moves. Got to be looking to deal with somebody to get things going.
I agree.
All right, let's go to the Astros. Another slow start. Had a good weekend, like we said, like we talked about. They swept the Braves, 12-10, 7-3 in their last 10, won 4 in a row, up to a plus 27 run differential now, 9-6 against teams over 500. I think this is pretty easy. This is a patient situation.
Same, patience. Yep.
Yeah, they're starting to right the ship, and it's trouble for the rest of the AL West and the rest of the American League, to be honest with you, if everything comes around for them. Let's go to the Angels, because I feel like that one's super down. Let's go to the Angels. The Angels are now 11-11, 4-6 in their last 10. They won their last game, plus 8 run differential, 3-7 against teams over 500. Panic or patience?
This is a crazy one, and I'm going to say patience, but only because I watched them perform against the Yankees. So my official answer is patience, but it is a really, really asterisk-laden answer. I need more from them, and that my answer could change in the next 5 days to panic.
They're going to say 5 minutes.
No. A handful of more games, though, and I think we'll have our answer. But right now I'm going to lean on patience, just because they do have X factor talent there. The back-to-back home runs by Ward, Ohtani, and Trout the other day was good. So if Trout, who has momentitis, if he can start to step up and do some things, then maybe this will work. But man, when Taylor Ward said he wanted to be the best left fielder in baseball at the beginning of the season, dude is making a campaign out of that.
He is.
And I think it's awesome. So for those reasons, I'm saying patience.
So I would say patience with the Angels too, but part of the reason I have a hard time saying that is because of what they did last year, where they just lost a bunch of games in a row. They completely wiped out their winning streak, right?
Totally.
This team could be really, really bad come May. And the other reason I want to say panic with them is because I feel like the Zach Neto call up was a panic move. That they're like, David Fletcher's not performing and we've got to win games because, like we talked about before, they know this season is like their success this season is like this is their future, right?
Yeah.
Like this is their future with Shohei Ohtani. They have to win this year. He is gone.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a little bit of panic in the front office with that. I think we'll see some moves here coming up pretty soon because they've had guys who have not just haven't panned out. Matt Theis has not been the offensive production they've wanted him to be. Joe Waddell has not been the player they wanted him to be. Had a pretty good year last year, but is not who they wanted him to be.
But so now they're down both starting catchers.
Yeah, exactly. And like we talked about, Matt Theis has an opportunity because he was a catcher in college. That's his natural position. So he has a chance to really thrive in his natural position. Because like I said before, I feel like that translates over offensively. It's a whole mental thing. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Angels made a move here in the next week, maybe 2. If they brought in a veteran catcher of some degree.
Like Gary Sanchez?
Maybe. He's certainly an offensive upgrade from what they have from
trying
nobody
to think of who's available. Yeah. That's a really interesting situation actually with Gary Sanchez. Huh. It'll be interesting to see what happens because they do need offensive support and they do need a veteran catcher. I'm not the biggest Gary fan, but I can see that move being feasible and maybe even logical for the Angels.
Yeah. Yep. That does make a lot of sense. I hadn't thought about Gary Sanchez. That makes sense. Okay. Let's move on to my team.
So wait. Your official is your official answer panic or patience?
My official answer is panic.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go on to the Mariners. The Mariners have had an interesting start. 10-12 overall. 6-4 in the last 10. Lost the last game on Sunday against the Cardinals. +1 run differential, +90 fun differential. And 5-11 against teams over 500. What do you think, Brig? Panic or patience with the Mariners?
5-11
against teams over 500. Yeah,
that's bad.
It's pretty brutal. It's been tough to watch.
Yeah, that's bad. I'm gonna say patience, just because I want to, just because I want them to start pulling themselves out of this. So I'm reluctant to say patience.
I'm gonna say patience. I'm gonna say patience. So part of it is, there's been a couple injuries. Robbie Ray didn't make it out of his first start healthy. That's been a problem. So then Chris Flexen had to come in from the bullpen, and he is not good as a starting pitcher. He's way better out of the bullpen, which is weird to say for some guys, but he's better as a reliever. So a lot of the Mariners' success going forward is going to contend on his starts the starts in that slot every 5 days, because his last 2 starts he's given up 6 and 7 runs. He let a 6-run lead just completely disintegrate his last not this last start, but the week before.
That's bad.
In like 5 minutes. It was so bad. It was ugly. But another reason I'm going to say patience is because Julio Rodriguez has been fine, but last year he didn't hit his first home run until May 1st.
Right.
He's hit I think he's hit 3 or 4 already. So he's off to a little bit better start, but he's still slow.
Yeah.
Jared Kelenic has been on fire. That's
rocket fire.
Been amazing. But the hole in the lineup comes in the DH spot, which is not a place you want to have a hole. But it's also fixable. Cooper Hummel got sent down. And so they're looking for a solution to the problem. I'm going to say patience, with the caveat that you have to be actively searching for a solution to the DH hole.
Okay.
Because it is a problem. And you can't have your DH just be like a guy off the bench who hits $150 just because you need a 9th batter, right? Like, it's not mandatory to have a DH. Let your pitcher hit, because a lot of them can do better than that. They're athletes.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. That's my thing. Is I'm going to say patience, with the caveat that you've got to be actively looking for somebody as a DH. If you don't have a DH by the middle of May, it might be time to panic, because things will continue to look like this if that's the case.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So yeah, that is my one concern with the Mariners. All right, let's go to the Phillies. Down to the National League. Let's go to the Phillies. 11 and 12, sorry. 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 3 in a row. Run differential is still in the negative. They're -10. Um, and they are 2-7 against teams over 500. Panic or patience?
I'm going to be patient. I want to see what Bryce Harper can do when he comes back and starts playing first base and injecting his personality into the lineup and things like that.
That's the big one. Is Bryce Harper has proven to be a major clubhouse leader with this team, and they go. I don't want to say they go as he goes. All he has to do is like be in there playing, and somehow he injects a ton of energy into that lineup. You would have thought that Trey Turner could have done that, but I don't know that he's necessarily a vocal leader, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with that.
Sure.
But I want to see Bryce Harper getting out on the field and firing guys up and see what he does at first base. I'm going to say patience until he gets back. If things continue when he gets back, then I would say panic, and you got to make some moves.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Cardinals, NL Central. The Cardinals are 9-13, 4-6 in the last 10. They won their game on Sunday, so they didn't get swept. -2 run differential, 6-10 against teams over 500. Panic or patience with the Cardinals?
This one's really hard. This is probably the hardest one for me overall.
Okay.
However, I'm going to say panic. I think at this point, they're in a panic situation. Yeah, I'm going to go with panic.
So I'm going to say panic as well. My thing is, I actually went down a rabbit hole on Twitter this weekend, and Cardinals fans are not happy with Ollie Marmol. Not at all.
Really?
Yeah. Somebody said that whoever his bench coach was last year, I can't remember who it was, but he's somewhere else now. They're like, he was the guy who the clubhouse listened to. He was the glue that was like, or he was the bridge. Yeah. He was the bridge between the players and the manager so they listened to him, that he's lost the clubhouse, and that if they fired Marmol today, this team would start winning tomorrow.
Wow.
Is basically what I got out of it, and that's what I'm going to go with, because he doesn't like watching him with the Cards playing against the Mariners this weekend. He doesn't know what he's doing. I shouldn't say he doesn't know what he's doing, but he doesn't have that team.
Didn't we call this out earlier that there was something funky in the clubhouse in St. Louis?
The Tyler O'Neill situation. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and so somebody got he pulled one of his pitchers this weekend, and he was not happy about it and let Marmol know about it. So,
yeah,
there's a lot going
pans
on there.
out. That pans out because they've got all the talent in the world.
Tons of talent.
There's no reason for them to be this bad.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm going to say panic with the Cards, and it's easily fixed. But whether or not they do, I don't know. Okay, let's go to the Dodgers. Now this is interesting. So they're 12-11, 5-5 in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row, +19 run differential, and they're 8-10 against teams over 500. And you only say panic or patience in this situation just because of who they are, right?
Right.
It has not looked good so far for the Dodgers. But are we going to panic or are we going to have patience with them?
I'm panicking.
Panicking with the Dodgers. Okay. Tell me why.
It's a vibe thing, man. It just doesn't look good. Like the on-the-field product just doesn't look good. It doesn't feel right. Something is wrong. If you can walk into Wrigley Field and lose 13-0 on any day, especially in 2023, especially in April, something is rotten. Something is wrong. And we called it last year when we said that if they don't pull it off in 2022, that it's time to maybe sell the farm and tear it down, and they haven't. And so that's what I'm saying. I think panic, and this panic streak is going to run all the way through the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'd say panic as well for everything you said, that a team that is supposed to win that does not eventually starts to get sick of each other. I feel like that you get to a point where it's like, well, it's not me. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Like, what's going on here? Why can't we get over the hump? And now I think, I don't want to say there's infighting in the clubhouse, but there's a vibe. The vibe is off in LA, like you said.
It is off. It's a vibe thing. Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Dave Roberts has run his tenure out in LA.
I think you could be right. Yeah, the voice is getting stale in the clubhouse.
Yep. I think it's over.
Yeah. Because and the other thing too is like, yes, they've won a World Series during this stretch with him, but it was a shortened season. they didn't have to go through the whole gambit, right? And yes, the situation was the same for everybody across the board, and it was more
Sure.
even being in a neutral site than it has ever been before, right? And they ended up winning. But still, like, you've got to prove that you're still that team by going on a winning World Series the whole length. So
Can't. Yep. Nope.
yeah,
Dave is the. I'm not saying he's the problem, but like I like the way you put it. His voice is a little stale, and I think that makes all the sense in the world. They just need to shake up something, and they probably will come out right on top again.
Yep. Too much talent on that team not to.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's go. Last one we have here, the Padres. The Padres are 12-12, 5-5 in the last 10. They've won 2 in a row. They took 3 out of 4 against the Diamondbacks, like I said. Run differential is -13. They're 10-10 against teams over 500. Panic or patience?
Bro, if I'm a San Diego front office personnel, I've been panicking for 2 weeks, maybe more.
Oh, really?
Yep. And I hope that the Tatis situation helps, but I don't think it's going to. I think his personality is going to hurt the clubhouse more than it will help. I think moving him out to left field is a great decision for when we trade.
He's in right.
For right field.
Left.
Yeah. So that's right. Which is weird anyway. But if they trade him, this is just an opportunity to show other teams that he's a great trade piece.
Could be. I'm going to have patience.
Okay.
A lot of new faces there. Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah.
Tatis coming back after a year off. He had a pretty good weekend. He was 0 for 5 his first game back, but it didn't take him long to get his first home run, right?
Yeah.
And he had a pretty good game the other night when I was there.
Yeah.
Juan Soto has not been Juan Soto that you saw with the Nats.
No.
I don't know what's going on there.
I don't either.
But I think you do have to have patience though with him there, right? Like I don't know. And at one point, do you not have any more patience with him? I don't know. But at the same time, though, like, you expect him to right the ship. You expect Xander Bogaerts to play well. You expect Tatis to come back to play well. And you expect Manny Machado to continue to play well. There's too much talent on that team for them not to play well. So I think you give it a couple more weeks before you start to panic. That if they are I think if they're under 500 middle of May, then you panic.
No, Brad. You're giving them too much credit, Brad. You're giving them too much credit.
I might be.
It's not going to happen. If they don't start panicking now, then they'll miss the boat on opportunities they could have made to trade up and rotate some things around and shake it up. If they wait too long, and they'll wait too long, and they'll hope that all this talent will come up and start swinging the bat, then it's going to be use or lose. I'm telling you.
Could be.
Could be trouble in paradise.
But if the Dodgers continue to struggle, and we know that the Diamondbacks are not, like, we're saying the Diamondbacks are pretenders, that division is still going to be wide open in 2 to 3 weeks.
I agree with you. But you don't want to win by default, and you don't want to win because you're like, meh, good enough, like in the Central. You want to win because you want to dominate, especially if you're the Padres, and even more especially if you're the Dodgers. I'm saying either of those two teams better start trading phone numbers back and forth and talking to each other, because they might have players that each other needs to make it a more competitive situation. Because AL West is fascinating right now, because two teams that absolutely should be dominating their opposition are not. They are mediocre. It's all lukewarm, and it makes me mad, Brad. I'm upset.
It should be more exciting, Brig, that the NL West is wide open right now.
No.
Because the Dodgers could have been the one to start 13-0 and be 19-3, whatever the Rays are right now. But they're not. Instead, they're hovering around 500 and getting blown out by the Cubs in Chicago.
It's bananas. And it is exciting if you're a Cubs fan. And it's exciting if you have, if you're a D-backs fan. But everybody else is like, what? The world is falling apart. And the sky really is falling in the NL West. It really is.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, we'll have to agree to disagree on that one. But anyway,
that's good.